5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 4 of the Beauty Business Reset for 2023. We are really excited as we start to turn over into this new year and try to get people to make those changes, right? Resolutions have already started, hopefully for you guys, but fortunately, I was introduced to our friends David and Jenny from Industry Aligned. What's up, guys? They focus in a lot of things to do with the health and wellness space, which as we came out of the last few years, work-life balance and health and wellness, especially for businesses like salons that are on their feet all the time, becomes super important, I think, for not only career longevity, but just making yourself feel good overall. We were introduced from our good friend of the show, Robert Reed. Robert, obviously, ergonomic hairbrushes is something that he's always talked about, and some great things like that. But Robert, I thank him for introducing us to you guys, and welcome to the show, Jenny and David.
Thank you so much for having us.
Happy to be here.
Absolute pleasure.
No, and listen, you guys are doing some really cool things. I think it's and we know a lot of people in the industry, but nobody sort of broached this industry directly focused before.
Yeah. You know, before this all started, it was just an idea. And I remember Googling and saying, David, nobody is giving information specifically for the beauty industry on how to maintain their body. And him being an expert in this field, he's been in the health and fitness industry for 24 years. This is all he knows. And he's helped people from every demographic possible. So it just seemed so right. It was a total no-brainer for me, being in the beauty industry for 18 years, to introduce him to everybody and really have him touch as many people as he possibly can.
Yeah, it happened really organically, and so far we've had an awesome response to everything. So I can't wait to see how things tumble forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure, you know, with a nice beard like that, I don't know if you learned how to trim it yourself there, David, but
I do the best I can. Glad you noticed. Thank you so much.
You know, the interesting thing about the beauty industry is that everything is sort of one size fits all, from chairs and sinks and things like that. And while there's some adjustments that can be done, they really don't have anything. Listen, nothing was invented ergonomically so fantastic, right? Even your sink basins and things, whether you stand behind or have to stand on the side, whoever invented them wasn't like, I wonder what the person shampooing is going to have. How are they going to squeeze in this spot? And what's their body positioning going to be? They didn't care. They just wanted to make sure it didn't leak, which they do leak, by the way. And they wanted to make sure that it had hot and cold water. Sometimes not enough hot water on a Saturday, depending on how busy you are. But that was really it. They didn't care. And even, you know, my wife is shorter. I have some staff that are shorter. The hydraulics on chairs just don't really work. I mean, there's like one company, I think, that makes a specialized chair for somebody short. I know they do make something for somebody super tall, but nobody ever talks about that either. You figured that there'd be a 6'5" stylist community of everybody giving each other advice on, hey, put this weird pipe in the middle of the hydraulics and it'll give you some more height in there.
That is why you have so few tall hairdressers.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God. I've known a couple, and one was successful out of all of them. And he was a colorist, so he did, you know, he could get away with it. But it's a challenge to be tall in this business.
After dealing with people for 24 years, it's a challenge just for tall people just to kind of navigate their space through the world. Most of my clients come in and they're already in a forward posture just because they're trying to make themselves small. Maybe they had an enormous growth spurt when they were younger, and they're trying to just fit in and blend in with the crowd, let alone having to deal with all these tools and shampoo bowls that aren't ergonomically friendly. One of the things we like to focus on is making sure that the mechanics are more individualized for that particular individual. So the best job that they can do is still not going to be good enough. Your body needs to take over from there.
You know, what I was talking to David about, because we've done a few different workshops now in different salons, and a very small portion of our workshop is a shampoo and blow dry demo. And that's because they are the most common services. Everyone needs to be shampooed and everybody typically needs to be blown out depending on the service. And what I noticed was all the shampoo bowls were different in every salon I went to. And sometimes we don't have the luxury of just swapping out a shampoo bowl for a more ergonomic piece. We have to deal with what we have in front of us, the salon space that whatever they carry. So our goal is to teach people how to navigate around what's already there, because there are ways to change the shape of your body in a safe way so that you're not hurting yourself while getting the job done. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so
Totally.
Your
Totally.
chair is, it can only go down so low and you don't have the money. I found those electric chairs, they go down the lowest because they don't have that hydraulic pump in there to take up space. They go down the lowest, they go up the highest, but they're also the most expensive. So somebody that doesn't have the means to make their space just perfectly fit their body, they can still find ways to work around it. And that's really what I want David to teach every single beauty professional, because even if we spread out into, you know, an esthetician or a nail technician, and they have to crouch down to do a pedicure, there's no way around it. But there are ways to still work through it and protect yourself. So sometimes it's not always the space or the chair or the shampoo bowl or whatever. It's how you use your body that can make a world of difference. And that's really what David taught me since I met him 6 years ago. And I feel like everything, the way I look at everything behind the chair is completely different. So that's why I'm so excited for him to just be more and more exposed to people, because it's a game changer.
Well, and one of the things that I like about it too is, first of all, I love that you started to focus on shampooing and blow drying, because I completely agree. We also deal with a lot of salon owners between the groups that are trying to hire new people that are coming out of the beauty school. So those are actually two of the easiest things. If you want to fast track someone, they can jump in and assist on a really long haired blow dry on a busy Saturday, or maybe you're squeezing a client in for color that you didn't have time to finish. Obviously, everybody should be shampooed beforehand anyway, in 99% of the cases. So it's just, I think it's a good way to add on to your training, because they don't know. And listen, let's be honest. A lot of times somebody at beauty school are going to be 18, 19 years old if they went right in from high school. Maybe they've been to a salon once a year to get their hair cut, right? Usually I'm picturing every assistant that ever applied for us, and they don't understand the impact of a really good shampoo. What a client feels like, a little bit of massage type pressure, a little bit of, the water being the perfect temperature. And there's so many facets that go into that. The clients really look forward to the shampoo, right? They look forward to not having to blow dry their hair and see what you do as a beauty expert. And you put a little bit of a bend, or you put a little bit of a bounce to it, and they go out feeling great. So the start and the finish of that, almost each and every service starts with that. And it gives you something else to explain to the client. Yeah. Why, for a salon that would adopt something about health and wellness for career longevity, right? It's just another facet of something interesting you can explain to your clients about why your salon is different, and just adds another little notch of saying, like, see, that's why I go there. Not only do I love the fact that they do a great shampoo, or Jenny does my color fantastic, but they just care about career longevity or care about their employees' health and well-being. That I think it's great. I think what you guys are doing is absolutely fantastic.
David, do you do preventative? Is that part of the routine that you go through?
Yes, sir, 100%. That's actually what I focus on primarily. I want to try to nip things in the bud immediately.
Great.
Everyone has some inherent dysfunction, and everyone has some different neurological pathways that are slightly dysfunctional. So I like to hone on these things immediately, start to address them, attack them, and start to progress that individual immediately. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I've noticed throughout the years, and we're primarily a female industry. I think, I don't know the exact numbers. It's 90%, I would say, female. And it pained me going into the salons because I owned and operated. And when women got pregnant,
Yes,
it was not, and not having the tools to techniques to help them was through the day. I mean, this was just as an operator and owner painful to watch, because not only it's just, I would imagine, terribly physically uncomfortable, but when you have to do a lot of physical work and repeatedly and a lot, how do you deal with that stuff? Would seem to me to be right up your alley.
Absolutely. And I do address pre and postnatal, just like I address pre and post-op. So there's definitely a method to the madness. But when you're dealing with an extra body and an extra load, we need to understand variances in weight transitions even more so. So I try to hone in on that. And again, I try to find those little idiosyncrasies, those little discrepancies from left to right, from that neurological pathway again. So we can start to hone in on the things that maybe are a little bit dysfunctional, a little bit left behind, and we can bring those into the party because we want those things to come along with us.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I was saying about sometimes you can't change the shampoo bowl, or you can't change the styling chair, the height. A female body was made to carry that baby, and there are ways to work around it, and learning, like how David was saying, how to shift your weight, because now you've got something that's throwing you a little bit more off balance. Maybe it's putting more pressure on would it be more your lower back? And maybe sometimes sitting through certain services or parts of the service. And that's another thing that we touch on that I am so excited to share more about, because there's been such a movement of, this is bad and this is good, and don't stand like this, you should stand like this, and sitting is better than standing. Well, none of that is true that I've learned from David. It's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it. So there's we put so much good and bad, and like David would say, we demonize certain things, that it's more about how you're doing it rather than what you're doing.
It starts to create a dysfunctional relationship with your body and posture. You can really liken this to the way the food industry is talking about this food is good and this food is bad. Well, that starts to enable a poor relationship with food that I often tend to restore with my clients as well. It's the same thing with postures in their body. If I only hold my body upright, I'll be safe. Well, that's just not the case. You should be able to get in these postures, get out of these postures. And the real determining factor is, how long are you in these things? And is it painful for you to get in and out of that expression? So it's more of a duration thing and more of a muscular endurance thing rather than an actual shape thing, if that makes sense.
That's awesome. Guys, what we're going to do is that on the bottom of the call, we're going to make sure we put up their website. They can find you guys at industryalign.com, right?
Yeah.
We'll also link, Jenny's got a really interesting story on how she met David on a couple of really good shows that we like. So I'll put the links to some of those. You can get some background history on them working together. But since it is the 2023 episode, what's one thing that they should stop doing like right now? And what's one thing they should start doing right now?
I would say start paying attention to your body a little bit more, be a little bit more mindful, and stop paying attention to Instagram and TikTok for your nutrition advice.
And as much as you can, move throughout throughout your service. Staying in sedentary positions is what's getting you into trouble. And it's really moving. Our body was made to move, not made to be sedentary. And the more you do it, the more you'll notice your pain points will start to loosen up more.
100%.
Yeah, and listen, hairstylists are some of the most resilient people in the world for 1,000,001 different reasons. But you want to talk about people that'll work through pain, blisters from wearing the wrong shoes on a Saturday to 1,000,001 other things. But I love that you actually bring in some other components too. And listen, the infamous, I haven't peed all day, right? How many memes have we seen about that? not drinking enough water, how many memes about that, not even eating lunch, or, I'm eating a granola bar. That's going to be my breakfast, lunch, and dinner because it's the Saturday before Christmas. I think that that's all really important things that you guys speak to as well. Would love to get you back. We're hoping to do a big thing in April, sort of the whole gambit of health and wellness, even some mental health. Obviously, one of the things that we always had talked about in the past was even just the energy alone, right? You're looking in the mirror, and when clients are spewing whatever crazy, the energy is just bouncing right back. And hairstylists in general are great listeners. Some of them are great talkers. I won't go into any more detail. But reality of it is the energy component of what that is, and sort of being that full circle, being able to be smart and educated about new techniques, being able to watch what your body and listen like you guys are teaching, being able to have some type of mental health component to what happens and what you do. And we love that. And we definitely appreciate having you guys. So glad. Listen, we always like meeting new friends. So glad we got the opportunity to meet you guys today. Guys, check out the links that are in the bottom. Jenny and David, great story. They are starting to work to do in-salon trainings. So once we get a little schedule, obviously, I think it's paramount to be able to get in and do that. We hope to be able to do something with you guys too. I'm going to teach David some Zoom tricks to be able to do some of these live calls and stand up and teach you how to do a full on green screen. It's going to blow your mind.
Let's do it. I'm ready for it.
Awesome. Guys, check out everything that we're going to put in the links there. David and Jenny, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Here again to all of you, and we'll see you next week.